"Excuse me, why is my father's portrait hanging in your office?" The young catering assistant's trembling voice cut through the silence. The billionaire slowly lifted his eyes from the documents on his desk. Seconds later, the silver tray slipped from Mia's hands. Coffee splashed across the polished marble floor as she stared at the framed portrait behind him, unable to breathe. The room fell completely silent. Before we continue, if stories about gratitude, sacrifice, and unexpected reunions mean something to you, leave a like, subscribe, and let's continue. Mia had never imagined she would step onto the executive floor of Blackstone Tower. At 24, she worked long shifts for a small catering company, delivering coffee and meals to offices across the city. Every extra order mattered. Her grandmother's heart medication had become more expensive again, and Mia had quietly started skipping her own lunches to make sure there was always enough money. That morning, the dispatcher announced an urgent request from Blackstone Industries. Their billionaire owner was hosting a private meeting with several investors. The delivery bonus alone would pay for nearly a week's worth of medicine. Mia volunteered immediately. The receptionist greeted her with a polite smile before leading her toward a pair of massive walnut doors. "Mr. Michael is expecting the coffee?" Mia nodded, carefully balancing the silver tray. She had never been inside an office like this. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the entire city. Sunlight reflected across the polished marble floors. Shelves filled with awards and photographs lined the walls. Michael, one of the youngest self-made billionaires in America, barely looked up from the report spread across his desk. Without lifting his head, he spoke calmly. "Just leave it on the conference table, thank you." Mia stepped forward. Her hands remained perfectly steady until her eyes drifted toward the wall behind his chair. Everything inside her suddenly stopped. A large framed portrait showed a smiling firefighter wearing a worn helmet, soot covering part of his face, a bravery medal hanging proudly from his uniform. Mia knew that smile. She had grown up looking at that same photograph every single day. The tray slipped from her fingers. Porcelain shattered across the floor. Michael looked up immediately. His assistant rushed forward. "Miss, are you hurt?" Mia didn't answer. Her eyes never left the portrait. Slowly, with tears already filling them, she raised a trembling hand toward the wall. Her lips barely moved. "Sir," Michael frowned. "What is it?" She swallowed hard before whispering the words that instantly drained the color from his face. "Why is my father's picture hanging in your office?" The room froze. Michael stared at Mia, then at the portrait, then back at her again. His breathing became uneven. "What did you just say?" Mia stepped closer, unable to look anywhere else. "My father," she whispered. "That's my father." Michael slowly stepped around his desk, unable to take his eyes off Mia. "What was your father's name?" he asked, though he already feared he knew the answer. "Leo," she whispered. "Leo Vance." Michael closed his eyes. For 20 years, that name had never left him. The assistant watched in stunned silence as Michael turned toward the portrait. It was him. His voice almost failed. 20 years earlier, Michael had been visiting one of his company's newly completed office towers when an electrical fire erupted several floors below. Smoke spread through the stairwells within minutes. Panic followed. Security rushed people toward the exits. But Michael never made it out. A collapsing beam trapped him inside a conference room already filling with smoke. Everyone believed the floor was empty. Everyone except one firefighter. Leo ignored direct orders to retreat. He forced his way through the flames, broke open the damaged doorway, and carried Michael toward the emergency stairs. Only seconds after Michael reached safety, part of the ceiling collapsed. Leo never came back out. Mia covered her mouth as tears rolled down her face. "My grandmother always told me," she whispered, "that Dad died saving someone. She never knew who." Michael nodded slowly. "She couldn't. I spent years trying to find your family." He opened one of the desk drawers and carefully removed a worn leather folder. Inside lay an old newspaper clipping. "Firefighter gives his life-saving business executive." Mia immediately recognized it. Her grandmother had kept the same article folded inside an old wooden box for years. "I hired investigators," Michael continued quietly. "They searched every address we could find. But after your family moved away, every lead disappeared." Silence filled the office. Even the assistant quietly excused himself, gently closing the door behind him. Michael stood beneath Leo's portrait. "I made him a promise." Mia looked up. "When they carried me into the ambulance, he was still conscious." Michael's voice shook. "He told me only one thing. If my family ever needs help, don't let them face life alone. I promised him I wouldn't." He lowered his head, and I failed. Mia gently wiped away her tears. "You didn't know where we were." "No," Michael admitted, "but I never stopped looking." Then Mia remembered something. Slowly, she reached into the small pocket of her apron. "My grandmother told me, if I ever found the man Dad saved, I had to give him this." She carefully unfolded a faded envelope, yellowed by time. Michael accepted it with trembling hands. Across the front, written in neat blue ink, were only 7 words. "For the man my father chose to save." Michael could no longer hold back his tears. He held the letter against his chest without opening it. Some promises arrive too late, but gratitude never does. If this story stayed with you, share it with someone who believes that one act of courage can echo across generations. And tell us in the comments, if you were Michael, how would you honor the promise you couldn't keep for 20 years?